welcome back into Bronco and the Pig. It is your host Cooper with my co-host Delaney. Delaney, how you doing? You're headed home here in a few days. School is done. No more Boise. How's it gonna feel to be back home in California?
I am very excited. I'm I'm gonna miss it, but I'm coming back, so I'm not devastated. You know.
Yeah. Well, we are, for those of you that are watching us, we are sporting a very Christmas themed, this was unplanned Christmas theme hoodie, but we are so excited to be here and to be recording another episode as we had another insane week of sports. Just lots going on between the playoffs with the NBA and the NHL. You see all the highlights and the crazy game winners and the crazy saves. Baseball is in full swing now. We are officially 1 month in, I believe. I believe it's been 1 month of baseball. It's going by quick. And then next week is a very fun episode for us as we are actually horse racing fans, and the Kentucky Derby is next Saturday. So first Saturday in May is always a special day.
And
And
possibly our first guest, maybe.
possibly we will see if we can get our first guest on here to talk about some horse racing and sports. But we're going to jump right in as we always do with our favorite stories of the week. And you have to start off, we're in the middle of April. You have to start off with just the playoffs in general. Delaney, have you been seeing highlights and videos of the playoffs, both NHL and NBA?
I've been seeing a lot of the NHL highlights, and I absolutely love them. On my end, seems like no one's really talking about the NBA, but the hockey playoffs I'm absolutely loving.
100% agreed. Now, the NBA, it definitely has its following, but I feel like there's nothing like the Stanley Cup and the NHL
Mhm.
playoffs. It's been super fun to watch. It's hard not to love just the atmosphere and the fans and the crazy, you know, both in America and Canada. I think that adds a little, twist to it sometimes is
Yeah.
Canada versus America. What has anything stood out to you about either one, NBA or NHL?
With you kind of said this in the Stanley Cup playoffs, I am just amazed at all the fans, and I want to go to a playoff game so bad because the fans are just absolutely crazy. And because it's in like an indoor arena, I just think it would be so much cooler than like a normal sport event, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Well, unfortunately for us, our home team is the Anaheim Ducks, and they suck.
Yeah.
So it might be a little bit before we get an opportunity to go to a playoff game, but I have to 100% agree. The Stanley Cup playoffs it's just a different animal. I mean, any playoff game, whether it's any sport, is the emotion gets elevated. But it feels like certain sports like baseball and hockey, just the people are so much more into it. Every chance is this
Yeah.
this big groan, like, oh, like we almost got
Yeah.
that goal. And then they go nuts when they score, of course. I got to give a shout out though to the Florida Panthers goalkeeper,
Mhm.
uh Bobrovsky. I don't know if you've seen some of his highlights, but he's like diving across the ice to block the puck, and people are loving it. The goalies are what win the Stanley Cup, 100%. It's always the goal, whoever has the best goalie or the hottest goalie, I should say. So
I must say that after watching these highlights, I have realized for me, I don't know if it's like my attention span, bad eyesight, I don't know what it is. It is so hard for me to follow the puck. Half the time I don't really know where it is. I'm kind of just following the players. So
yeah,
shout out to the goalie for being able to do that because I don't know how they do it.
yeah, those guys are crazy, and a lot of times you forget they're ice skating. Like we
Yeah.
grew up in California, we are not ice skaters. We don't we don't do that stuff, but I've tried. Ice skating is not easy, and
Mm,
for them to be able to do some of the stuff that they do on ice is impressive. Now, I also have to be give a little love to the basketball because there's been some pretty great games so far in this playoff season. Unfortunately, you and I, we're not big followers of the NBA, so
yeah.
I see the highlights, I see the game winners, I see that stuff. Can't really talk about what's going on. All I know is we kind of Delaney was who did you choose? You like the
I think I said
not the
Heat.
the
Wait,
Heat. You like the
yeah.
Heat.
And
They're struggling
the
a little bit, but
Clippers,
that's
right?
okay.
I
Yeah,
think
and
I
you like
said
the
the Heat
Clippers.
and the Clippers I want to go the whole
The
way.
Clippers look good. The Clippers look good. I'll
Okay.
be honest. So we'll follow along there. See how our teams are doing. I chose the I like the Nuggets and I like the Timberwolves. I've always liked the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are cool. They got cool jerseys, and I love Anthony Edwards. By the way, I know you don't know who that is. He plays for the
I did my
Timberwolves.
research. I did my
Yeah,
research on him. Yeah.
Anthony Edwards is special and he is fun to watch. He just seems like a really nice guy too.
Yeah.
I I love Anthony Edwards, so I'm a fan, and I'm pulling for the T Wolves as in this playoff season. All right, on to the next one. We're gonna go straight to Mr. Thomas Brady, who there was a video that kind of surfaced of him doing a podcast or a news clip or something like that saying, and I'm going to read the quote, and I'm not going to use all the words that he used, but he said, and quote, the biggest problem with a lot of kids these days, it's all about them. It's all about them, their brand, their social media. When it's about me and not about us, there's no way to succeed as a team. What was your initial thoughts when he said this?
I feel like it is important to know we have been raised by a mother who absolutely hates Tom Brady. So I feel like that kind of affects my opinion a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he has a point, and granted, you said the quote without the profanity, but I feel like he just could have said it a little bit better. I understand where he's coming from, but I just think the wording wasn't quite there.
Yeah, and I agree. I think I agree with his point. I
Hmm.
disagree with how he said it and like the
Yeah.
words he chose. But I do agree with him in that like a lot of especially in college these days it's all about, how I can build a reputation, how much money I can make as quickly as possible. And that's why I personally think I don't think anybody will ever have as many championships as Tom Brady does
Hmm.
because the team aspect in the us versus me statement that he made is very true. There's a lot of guys out there that don't care about anybody else but themselves. They want as much money and as much fame as they can get, and and it's a shame because there's other guys out there that they understand. It takes
Yeah.
however many players on each sport to win a game and let alone win a championship. So I do agree with you that Tom Brady he was a little blatant with it, little
Yeah.
could have been a little nicer about it. And you are right, our mother does hate Tom Brady. Yeah, I just thought it was an interesting point, and of course Tom Brady's in the spotlight again somehow.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't. I'm gonna be honest. That's one thing I don't understand. How are people so? I know he has his reporting. No, his
oh, announcing,
broadcast.
yeah, his broadcast.
Yeah, his like yeah. But I don't understand why he's still everywhere. If he's not even playing.
Well, he's without a doubt the greatest football player to ever live. As much as we hate him, he is the goat, as they say. Um, so you know, but he is retired and whatever. I'm not a I'm I don't really have much more to say about Tom Brady. He is who he is, and he's an interesting guy, and he makes some interesting points sometimes. But we'll move on from there. We'll move to our one a girl that we're big fans of that doesn't get enough love is Caitlin Clark. I believe it was yesterday signed a deal with Nike. Like I said, you got to get a shoe deal.
Yeah.
She finally got that bag. She finally got that money. 28 million over 8 years. Good for you, Caitlin Clark. Did you see how everybody reacted?
Um, I don't, not really. Um, I did see you sent me this, the video of the U.S. basketball
Yeah,
team.
the U.S. women.
Yeah, that's a little icky, and I feel like it is very clear that we are Caitlin Clark stans. We basically talk about her every single episode, but she
Yep.
deserves it. The This U.S. basketball team is saying that, oh, it's about time that we get the recognition, we get the views, all this
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
but they
What
never.
took you so long? All this
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. They never mention the person who did it for them,
Yeah.
and this it like actually made me mad. I don't. People need to realize, and I'm sorry if this comes off rude, but people need to realize that they aren't watching women's basketball for women's basketball. In my opinion, I think they're watching for Caitlin Clark, and it just so
Well,
happens to
and
overlap.
to and to give credit where credit is due, I feel like Caitlin Clark is the first women's basketball player to play a similar style as men.
Mm,
And I don't want to, like you said, I'm not trying to, bash women. I'm not trying to bash, the women's sport. But women's basketball can get a little boring, a little slow. And when you add someone as exciting and, can shoot from half court and the
yeah,
logo and, plays with a lot of emotion, when you add those characters to the story, it becomes a little more interesting, a little more fun to watch. This is same, and it's not just Caitlin Clark. I agree. I think Angel Reese plays with a similar emotion and plays with a similar, you know, she pushes people around. She gets a lot of rebounds. I think a lot of those girls do. Who is the South Carolina girl? I'm blanking on her name, but the three of them are amazing athletes. I got it. Hats off to them. But these
mm,
women that have been in the NBA for years, and they're all upset because they never got recognition. Well, that's because you you weren't you people weren't watching you. The people
it's like
didn't
they
enjoy
don't.
it.
The women's the women who have played before, it's like they didn't play to be recognized in a way, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I do think that women's sports should get more views and recognitions, but these people who are a part of it should give credit where credit is due. That's the one thing
Yep.
that bothers me,
Yep.
and yeah, I just think it's so stupid.
Yeah, and to be fair on, and I feel like women's sports is finally getting that recognition that they deserve.
Hmm.
It's being broadcasted nationally. It's on the major, channels, ESPN, ABC, whatever, TNT, uh, especially basketball and Olympics and things like that. It's just you can get that vulnerability, you can get those opportunities, but if people aren't watching you, I'm sorry, you're not doing something right. You're not
Yeah.
doing. I can't go down the street and tell everybody go turn on the women's basketball game tonight. I'll watch it because I enjoy it or whatever. But again, people like you said, people aren't watching the game because they want to watch women's basketball. They're watching the game because they want to see Caitlin Clark do something no other woman's doing,
Hmm.
and
Exactly.
that's just the way it is. I'm sorry, and I agree with you. Some of these women athletes on the U.S. team, and they need to they need to be a little optimistic. They need to
Yeah.
kind of open their eyes a little bit and say, I appreciate what she's doing for the sport, but I don't think it'll ever happen.
When
Um,
someone bashes Caitlin Clark, we will come after them.
we are big Caitlin Clark fans on here. She's a great player. I'm a big Angel Reese fan as well. I
Hmm.
think she's a great player. We just like the two of them, their personality, their emotion, and their love for the game, and what they bring to the game is really fun to watch. But we're gonna talk about kind of the biggest thing that's gonna go on this upcoming week, and that is the NFL draft. The NFL draft, and we are recording this, it will be released on Thursday or on Friday. So the NFL draft is Thursday night. We are recording this on Wednesday night. So this is prior draft recording.
Hmm.
But the episode will be released after the draft has taken place. So just so we got that out of the way, the NFL draft is very interesting this year, in my opinion. First off, there are very, very little defensive players that are going to go high. There's going to be a lot of offensive players at the beginning, which is exciting because everybody loves to see, those quarterbacks, those wide receivers, those running backs, um, you know, get taken and
Hmm.
support their teams. The one thing I have noticed, and I sent you a video, and it's about Caleb Williams. We are big Caitlin Clark fans. We are not big Caleb Williams fans. I will be very brutally honest. We're not the biggest Caleb Williams fans, and he recently did an interview with ESPN, and it was released.
Yep.
And man, I don't know what he says or what about him, but he just is such an arrogant asshole.
Exactly. He's just an idiot. Like,
Like,
even when he talks, it doesn't even like make sense. Like, he's not even like that interview you're talking about with ESPN.
yeah.
The guy is like, he's kind of like, what the heck are you saying? Like, do you
Yeah.
understand what he's saying? And he's just like so
Well,
adamant in his own head. It,
well, to
it
give a little
his
context,
ego. Yeah.
Caleb Williams was asked like, how did he feel about going to Oklahoma when he first went to college, and he basically said, I was really upset that I didn't start at Oklahoma, which is why I left and went to USC.
Hmm.
Valid statement. I
Yeah.
had no problem with that statement. The only problem is that he knew that the quarterback at Oklahoma was Spencer Rattler, who was a projected first round pick, early first round pick at the time. And he knew that if he went to Oklahoma, Spencer Rattler was there.
Yeah.
Uh, sorry, dude, you're a freshman coming out of high school. I don't care how good you are. You're not going to start at
Hmm.
a top school in the nation with a top quarterback of prospect.
Yeah.
I like I don't care how good you are. And he that just went right over his head. He just it didn't even matter that was the case. So I'm not a fan of him, but he's gonna go number one. Like it's pretty blatant.
I don't know. It's hard because I actually hate him, if I had to say it, but I've never met him in my entire life. I I just want him so bad. I just want his ego to be crushed so bad.
Yeah.
And I want no teams to pick him up. I want him to barely make it, but I just know
Well,
that's not the case.
yeah. And it's pretty blatant that the Bears, and it has to be the Bears, of course. Of course it's the Bears. Chicago. We do have some ties to Chicago. Our mom's family is from the heat of Chicago, and they're huge Bear fans. Now we're Ravens fans on here because that's what we grew up watching. But God, the Bears. Of course, it's the Bears that get them, and I just don't think. I don't know. I don't know how good he's going to be. I can't figure it out. Now I'll give the Bears credit; they are building a pretty solid foundation for him. So he's going to be given every opportunity to succeed. So
So
if he
you
doesn't,
think when he gets drafted, do you think he'll start playing right away?
yeah, he'll start.
Oh.
He'll start right away. Um, the Bears don't really have another quarterback, so it's him. They're going
Oh.
full speed with Caleb Williams. To be fair, the Bears, like I said, they built around him. They went out, they got a wide receiver in Keenan Allen. They went out and got a running back in DeAndre Swift. They went out and built some pieces on the offensive line. They also have the number 9 pick, so they have the number 1 and the number 9 pick. So they'll probably use the 9 pick to take a defensive player,
Mm.
um, or they could trade it. I don't know, but the pressure's on Caleb Williams. If he's not successful in the first 2 years, I
He's a
sorry,
goner.
dude. Yeah, sorry, dude. Like that, you're being given the team. You're being given all these weapons, all these players. If you can't do it, I don't know. Maybe try a different coach, and then if you can't do it, then you got a problem. But yeah, the as I said, the NFL draft is tomorrow night. I have a bold prediction. I'll go on a little tangent here
Okay.
because the NFL draft is a big day. It's a big event. We are big football fans, so it is a pretty big thing tomorrow. Luckily for us, the Ravens are good and they don't pick until the end of the first round. And I'm not saying that their pick doesn't matter because it does. You want to get good guys. But right now, the focus on is the beginning of the draft. The first couple
Mhm.
picks. My bold prediction, and this is my prediction, is only 3 quarterbacks are taken in the first round. Okay, now that's a lot. Uh, and sorry, wrong word. That's a very bold prediction because they're expecting 5 in the first round, which is a lot.
Mm.
I only think there's going to be 3, and I think it's going to be the Bears are going to take Caleb Williams in the first. The Commanders, the Washington Commanders, are going to take the either the LSU kid or the North Carolina kid second, and then this is where things get a little shaky because I don't know if the Patriots are going to take one. There's a lot of rumors that they're not. Everyone thinks Minnesota's going to take one, the Vikings, but they don't pick for a while. The Broncos, they could first round. I don't know. It
Yeah.
really depends on all this stuff. So there's a lot of I don't think I've seen an NFL draft like this where there's a lot of question marks on what teams are going to do. The Chargers, for example, nobody knows what the fucking Chargers are going to do. Excuse my language, because they've let go of a whole bunch of guys. It's a very interesting draft. And I'm very excited to see what happens. And there could be a trade in the first couple picks that just shakes everything up.
Mm.
And it's not very often that there's drafts like this where there's this many quarterbacks, this many playmakers, and this many teams desperate for those guys. So it's going to be interesting. Uh, so we'll just go sport to sport, and we're on football. So I'm just going to say some quick news. So the Bengals, T. Higgins, and I forget the defensive player's name. Um, they have requested a trade, which becomes a little interesting, because the Bengals are actually pretty good, and now they have these guys wanting to get out. So maybe that could be a draft day trade. And then the big one was Zach Wilson was traded to the Broncos. And this is kind of my reasoning of why I think they'll wait to get a quarterback in the later rounds, not get one in the first round. But Zach Wilson
Well,
really hasn't shown much. Go
I
ahead.
did look at uh Zach Wilson in the Broncos, and I know,
Yep.
is this normal? Because, and I don't even know if this is true. I saw something that said the Broncos have 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Is that like a normal amount? Because I kind of thought that was a lot.
No. Most teams have 3 or 4.
Um,
You just don't hear about it because
they aren't really
you
playing.
got one guy and then you got the backup kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Zach Wilson did go to the Broncos, and people are saying it could be the worst. They call it the quarterback room, which is where the quarterbacks go. People saying it could be the worst quarterback room in history. That the 3 guys that they have are horrible.
They're all
Um,
just bad.
they've all been bad. I can't say that they're going to be bad, but they haven't done anything. Poor Zach Wilson from BYU, he struggled really bad, and he just doesn't look very good. But speaking of the Broncos and the Texans, they went out and they got new uniforms. Did you
Hmm.
see some of these new uniforms? What are your thoughts? They're kind of the same color scheme.
I
The
did.
Yeah,
I think it was the Texans. One of the teams had the all red uniform.
it's the Texans. So the Texans are blue and red and white,
Okay.
and
Oh, and
the
then
Broncos are orange and blue, like a navy
okay.
blue.
I should have known that. Okay,
No,
but
you're good.
The Texans, the all red uniform, I thought was so cool. And I mean, I'm not a huge sports watcher, but I don't think I've seen a uniform like that where it's like that all red color.
Yeah, not really at the pro level. There's
Oh, yeah.
some colleges that have like all red. Like I'm gonna think of Louisville off the top of my head. They have like this chrome red that they wear
Mm-hmm.
all the way down. But you're right. I dig the all one color
Yeah, it looks
uniforms.
good.
It does look good. I want the Broncos to wear that. They have like that midnight blue, like navy blue.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
I
I
like
want
that.
them to do it full blue, pants, jersey, and helmet all blue. But they didn't. It didn't look like they were gonna do it. But all one color, I agree. I think that's the best look.
I
White,
think,
black,
yeah, when they
blue.
get like too crazy and like too out of like all over the
Yeah,
place, it becomes too much.
you got like orange pants with a white jersey with a blue helmet. It's like way too. It's way too
Yeah.
chaotic. There's too much going on. The clean look. It looks clean. Like especially
Hmm.
all white. All white just looks really clean and like slick. I
Hmm.
always love the all white look. But yeah, this is kind of this is the first time in a while that we've seen a real. I guess the Washington like Commanders changed their team name and stuff like that. They're no longer the Redskins. They're now the Commanders. So it's kind of the first time in a while we're going to see some new jerseys out there. But again, the NFL draft tomorrow night, big event. I encourage you to watch, Delaney. I know you won't really know what's going on, but it is tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. But we'll roll on to baseball as we have some interesting news. There's been some more injuries, so I'm just gonna roll through it really quick. Um, Robert Stevenson is out for the year. He is one of our Angel pickups, of course. Delaney, our Angels. So they signed Robert Stevenson
Hmm.
to a new contract. He was a free agent last year, and he's the second highest paid reliever. They bring him in. He hasn't pitched a single inning for us because he's been dealing with this injury, and now they announced that he's out for the year. The Angels also, shocker, shocker, put Anthony Rendon on the IL. Of course, the dude is made of glass. He's never healthy. Christian Javier went on the IL. Brian Bello went on the IL, and then there were a couple minor league trades. But kind of the big news yesterday was reigning Cy Young winner Blake Snell is also injured now. So everybody's dealing with injuries. It happens every year. Seemed to be a little higher this year, but is what it is. All right, Delaney, did you do your power rankings, your MLB power
I
rankings?
did.
All
I've
right, what?
actually, I think it's staying pretty good. Once again, I did it based off runs scored this time.
Okay,
So for my power
just
ranking,
straight up, how many runs are you scoring?
yep, just like
Okay,
1 through 10. Okay, my power ranking, I have 10 is the Royals, 9 is the Brewers, 8 the Cincinnati Reds, 7 the Padres, 6
okay,
the Cubs,
nice.
4 the Dodgers.
Of course,
Oh, sorry, I meant 5 is the Dodgers.
five Dodgers.
4 is the Cleveland Guardians, who I'm now a
Yep,
fan of.
big fan.
Uh, Baltimore Orioles is 3. 2 is the Braves, and number 1 is the Arizona
Really, still the
Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks.
Still
Still the
the
Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks.
So curious. So I have some teams on my list
Mm-hmm.
that are not on your list.
Yep.
So like the Yankees aren't in there.
I could look.
See, I have okay. So we'll roll through mine. So I have the
Mm-hmm.
Phillies at number 10. They went on a 7-game win streak. They've lost a couple in a row. The Blue Jays at 9. I think they're extremely underrated. At 8, I do have the Cubbies, so we're on the same track there. 7, I have the Rangers. 6, I have the Royals, so there's another one. 5, I do have the Orioles. 4, the Guardians. 3, the Dodgers. 2, the Yankees, and the best team in baseball by far is the Braves. So I'm shocked that the Braves and the Yankees aren't on your list of
Let's
runs
see.
scored.
So you said the Royals, right? They're
No,
on
the
your power
Royals.
rank.
Yeah, I think the Royals are very good.
Well, they are number 11 in runs scored.
Okay.
Then let's see, the Yankees are number 14.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy because they're one of the best teams in baseball right
that's
now.
kind of
So
weird.
yeah. What about the Braves? The Braves are by far the best team.
Let's see. Oh, the Braves, they were on mine. They're number 3.
Oh, oh, they were on yours.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. See, the Braves are the best team. The Dodgers are up there, obviously. There's been a couple shockers. So one, where are the? Tell me where the Astros are on that list.
The Astros are number 20.
20.
Yeah.
The Astros are. I don't know what's going on in Houston, but they are not good right now.
Oh,
Not good.
really?
Yeah, and
Huh.
which is very surprising because the Astros, they won a couple World Series the last couple years. They've been the best team in the West for a long time, and their team's basically the same as it's always been, same
Yeah.
guys,
Oh, that's
and
kind of weird.
they are not winning games, and I don't know what's going on there, but the Astros are stinking up the place, and our Angels, they look okay. Okay, they're not going to make the playoffs. I got news for you, but they're not as bad as I thought they would be
At
so
least we
far.
don't have to
But
be like embarrassed to say we're Angels fans. That's how I
true,
look
there's
at
some encouraging. You know what it is? There's some encouraging stuff going on with the Angels. Um,
it.
they're not super good, but it's an encouraging sign when you see Mike Trout doing what he's doing, followed by a couple other pieces that are playing well. The one thing that the Angels that we got going for us is our pitching finally looks okay.
Hmm.
Okay. It's normally horrible, horrendous. Our Orioles do look good. They should make the playoffs just fine. The Angels, no. And the Cubs, I'm impressed with the Cubs. I think the Cubs look good, and they should be there by the end of the season. They should be ready to go for the playoffs. All right, Delaney, do you got a mascot for me as we wrap things up? This is a shorter episode because
Hmm.
next week is going to be quite long with our Kentucky Derby episode.
Okay, this mascot I really liked just because it's not a mascot that's out of the ordinary, really, but I
Yeah.
just thought his costume was interesting. So I want you to look up the San Jose Clash Scorpion.
San Jose Clash Scorpion.
I
Clash.
don't know if it's the same one, but it was in 1995. It's like a big red dude,
Oh, yeah. I see it. Oh, the 90s.
and
I've never seen this.
I know, isn't it's just kind of like weird looking. I don't really know how to describe it, but I
Hmm.
also liked they talked about how in the 90s they didn't have a mascot that would last longer than a year.
Okay.
Including the scorpion, including the scorpion, and they decided to change their mascot to a scorpion because there was one caught in the net during the team's tryouts. Isn't that kind
Oh,
of weird?
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is weird. So is it San Jose? It must be
San Jose.
soccer. I think it's their professional soccer team. They
Yeah,
were the Clash. Now they're the Earthquakes, the San Jose Earthquakes,
yeah,
which is kind of cool name. But you're right. This is a weird logo. I've never seen this mascot before. It kind of looks like a gecko
yeah.
almost.
It's
Not
just
much of a
it,
scorpion.
but I just thought
Very
it was funny
odd.
how they literally changed their mascot to like basically the first thing they just saw.
No, it's kind of cool that they you know they took a story that happened and they made the mascot out of it. But nice find. That so
Thanks.
you said in the 90s they would only keep the mascot for 1 year and then they'd change it.
I don't think it was on purpose. That's just
Mm,
the way it was
it's
happening.
kind
It
of the
said the
way it
mascot
worked.
only lasts a year too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for good reasons because it's kind of creepy looking. The red. It literally looks like a red Barney. That's kind of like what it
Oh
looks
yeah,
like.
that's a good way of putting
Oh,
it.
yeah. A little weird. All right. Well, nice find. And as always, we finish up our episode with a question of the week. And this is a good one. And I saw
Mhm.
this. I can't take credit for it. I saw it on Instagram, but it makes you think a little bit. Now, I'm a big golfer. I love to golf. It's a great game. I'm horrible at it, but since the Masters was last week, we had the UFC question because of UFC 300. Well, this is kind of a Masters question, okay? So, how do you think you would do in the Masters against the field? The professionals that play in it. If you started every hole on the green, so if you got to start on the green, now I'll be honest, there are some large greens, but that
Mm,
means you're just putting. So
yeah.
you just putt.
Okay.
How do you think you would do without any practice? You just go out there and you putt, and you got to make as many shots as you can, but you start on the green while everybody else plays it normal.
Well, I feel like it's important to know I have never swung a golf club in my entire life.
Fair.
I have mini golf though, but I suck. Like
Okay.
the thing about putting when you like don't know what you're doing is like it so easily just like goes like a little bit in the wrong direction, you know?
Hmm.
So to be honest, I don't even think I can make I think do they make like cuts?
Yeah. So
I don't
you don't think you make the cut?
no, not at all.
No.
Mm-mm.
I said I think I could make the cut, but I won't win.
Yeah.
I don't think I I I think I'll make the cut, and then I'll finish in the middle of the pack with the final round. Like the
Okay.
very middle.
Well,
Somewhere
that
around
sounds
there.
pretty good.
I To be fair, I think where I will really get the advantage is on
Hmm.
par fives. So a par five means
Oh,
you have to get it in the hole
it,
in 5 shots.
yeah.
But those are the furthest holes. So the guys, I'm already starting on the green. So if I could just, putt it
Leave.
close and then maybe
Yeah.
get two or three after 2 or 3 shots, I'm sitting good. The ones where they're going to catch me are the par threes when they can get it on the green in one shot. And I'm already, I don't have much of an advantage there. Does that make sense?
No, that does.
So I would like to think I would make the cut if I could start every hole on the green, but I mean, you never know. Some of those greens are insane. The hills and the, get reading them and stuff is
Do the
hard.
greens have the sand traps?
No, no, you can't get
Oh.
You're literally starting where the hole is, so
It's
you're
like
just putting.
flat there, right? Kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah, but a lot of times it's on a slope or something, so you have to kind of
Oh.
like read it a little bit. It makes it harder. Well, follow up question then: how long of practicing putting do you think it would take you to make the cut? Like how much practice would you need to, like, a week, 2 weeks, a month?
Mm, do I get a
Because
coach or am I just on by myself?
sure, you can go get lessons, but remember, you're not playing golf. You're just putting. You're
Yeah.
going against everybody else who has to, play normally. You're just putting. So that's only one
Mhm.
skill you have to, like.
Yeah.
It's
Focus on.
hard. It's still hard, but you can still focus on that.
I ooh. I think it would take me if I'm doing it every day with a coach. I think I could learn and be pretty good in like a month. I don't. Yeah, I think a
Eh,
month.
Yeah, I mean, every day if you're going out there and practicing, and you have someone helping you and
Hmm.
teaching you and stuff. Yeah, I think you'd hold your own in a month. I could see that.
Yeah.
I think if you gave me 3 months to practice and prepare and just learn to putt, like truly learn to putt, I think I could win the Masters if I started every hole in the green.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
That'd be insane. I would love to see it. Like, I would love to see someone do it and, like, see how they would do. Just like an average
You know
Joe.
what they should do? They should right before the Masters. They should like go out onto the street and pick a random guy and let him do that, guy or girl, and let him do that because I'm curious how they'll like place with the rest of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, there's advantages and then there's disadvantages. There's going to be times when maybe you miss.
Yeah.
and then that sets you back, or maybe you get lucky on a couple holes, and now you're killing people. So I I think it's an awesome brain teaser, but I don't know. It's tough to gauge. I guess it really depends on how much you play, how much you like someone like you who's never played before is you're
No.
gonna struggle, of course. But if you get some practice in, you learn how to do it. Now we're talking about a different animal. So, but good. It's a good final question, I think.
Mhm.
Well, that kind of wraps up our episode. It is a short one. As always, go love sports, go watch sports, and then come back and talk about sports with the Bronco and the Pig, because that is one of our favorite things to do, is talk about sports. NFL draft tomorrow night. It's a big one. And then next week, special episode, possibly our first guest ever on Bronco and the Pig, as we will
Maybe.
talk about the Kentucky Derby and everything there is to do about horse racing. So, as always, peace from the Bronco and the Pig.